What does Superman mean to me? Well, Superman is always a character that I've always identified with for a number of reasons. That could be my Christian background. I've just always identified with characters who have a moral center. It's why of the two Winchester brothers in Supernatural, Sam Winchester is my favorite. It's why I like Superman. It's why I like Spider-Man. I like characters that have a moral center, and Superman has a very strong moral center.
Hey, I'm Frank from Beer with Geeks, aka Super Frank, and this is what Superman means to me. Superman's been a part of my life my whole life. My first memories as a kid involved Superman. I was 3 years old when my little sister was born, and my dad took me to meet her at the hospital. He gave me flowers to give my mom, and for me, he gave me a Superman Fleischer cartoon VHS. And that was it. I was hooked. That tape sparked my love of Superman. My very first fascination with superheroes, my fascination with science fiction, all starts there.
Hey guys, this is Kevin here. I want to talk about what does Superman mean to me. You know, Superman means everything. He's the cornerstone of all the things that I love. That and Star Wars. I mean, really, they're kind of neck and neck, right? But it's all still part of that era, that late 70s just transition into blockbuster filmmaking, right? Coincidentally, John Williams scores are in both of them. So maybe that has something to do with it. The music, the power of that music, how it resonates, I think every movie soundtrack I listen to is judged by, the Star Wars and Superman soundtrack.
When people talk about Superman, we tend to talk about him in the way that he talks about himself, that he stands for truth and justice and for hope and the American way in some ways, but that's not what Superman really means to me. I think it's larger than that.
What does Superman mean to me? That is a very personal question. Superman was my dad's favorite character of all time. I would even go so far as to say probably his favorite person of all time. He loved him ever since he was little, and he passed that love on to me, almost named me after Superman. But this is actually my dad's shirt that he used to wear all the time. He actually wore it to the last Comic-Con that we went to together before he passed away, and he used to wear it when he was going into his chemotherapy appointments. So it's very, very meaningful for me to wear this t-shirt now in my booth when I'm working.
Yeah, I like the way he chooses to use his powers is admirable in a world where men hold on to power and want to do the worst things with it. It's always refreshing, no matter what era of humanity we're in, that Superman is a character that will continue to use his powers for good, no matter what situation he finds himself in.
From there, my love really blossomed and grew. I consumed every version of the character that I could get my hands on. I'd run around the house with a dish towel tied around my neck as a cape, and I'd pretend that a closet was a phone booth that I was going to change, into my costume. Eventually, I got a real Superman costume as a gift, and my dad would pull out his camcorder, and we'd make home movies together. He'd be the cameraman and the narrator while I was acting out Superman's adventures. And
I think about my love of Spider-Man and Batman, which are my other two favorites, and I don't think those things would exist without Superman. I don't think the modern comic book blockbuster exists without Superman. And so he gave us all of that, that character. And for me, there's nothing different. Plus, it's a connection point with my dad. Sitting on the floor, watching on a big tube TV, first Superman movie on VHS, I was just blown away. The guy's holding a car.
Superman is a character that is lonely. He was lonely as a kid, not because he wasn't loved, but because he really wasn't allowed to show people who he really was, because he didn't really know who he was himself. And then it could have been dangerous for him to reveal that. And that's relatable, I think, to a lot of kids growing up, that they don't know how to express themselves, and they don't feel like that it's appropriate to express themselves in the way that they want to. And so they have to shutter themselves in a different way.
And Superman and my dad inspired my business branding, and they both remind me to be strong and to give hope to others and to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Not because there's any reward for it, but because it's the right thing to do. You help others, you do your best, and it's really hard to not talk about it and stay stone-faced, but Superman is very meaningful for me. And
I think that the fact that a man chooses to do good and chooses to help no matter what. I mean, people try to make Superman dark. they try to make him broody, but that's not Superman. Superman is a good-natured person. He's a warm-natured person. He strives to do what's right. He strives to do the right thing. It's why we have superheroes. I mean, Superman, superhero, it's in the name.
Superman isn't just a character to me. It's been a constant in my life. It's a connection to my dad, an inspiration that shaped me to who I am today. Superman reminds me that doing the right thing matters, not just because it's easy or because you'll get something out of it or because it makes you cool. It doesn't always, but it's the right thing to do. Doing the right thing to do is always worth it, is always the right thing to do. Even when the world feels cynical and dark, Superman is this symbol of hope and kindness and truth and justice.
Superman, yeah. He's everything. He's the cornerstone of all the things that I love. Yeah. So, go Superman.
If we could all be like Superman, to extend the hand of kindness and forgiveness and love and compassion over and over and over and over and over again, then the world really would be a better place.
Superman is the whole world. Like, that's his family. That's who he chooses to protect. He will always choose to protect. He will always choose to help us, no matter how much we treat him. And that is admirable. And that is what Superman means to me.
So, as my first love in fiction, in superheroes and sci-fi, Superman's always going to be more than just a comic book character to me. He's a reminder that we can all try to be better. Not perfect, but we can all try to be better every day. And that's something worth holding on to.
I think what Superman means to me is that he is the ultimate immigrant story. That is the story of America in so many ways. And that's what makes him so relatable, is that I think he is someone who's not from here, but aspires to be the best of us. And that is so admirable, especially in this day and age. I think the scene in Man of Steel where Cavill is talking about how on Krypton the shield means hope. I think that aspirational aspect of the character, that hope, allows us to believe in the best of ourselves and aspire to be the best of ourselves. And I think nowadays, that message is pretty resonant and has continued to be resonant, I think, throughout the character's history. So much of my favorite Superman stories, at least, are ones that pull from Greek myth. So All-Star Superman, that's one where it feels like the labors of Hercules, right? It's how can we put him in these extraordinarily incredible situations and make him human, make him feel like one of us, despite the fact that he's this completely otherworldly being. I think that's what resonates, is just that the aspirational quality of it to really hammer that point home. I think that is what has made him so resonant through decades and decades of publishing history.
Why I think Superman matters to me, this guy right here, it means there's someone who's larger than, who cares about you, no matter where you are, will help you no matter where you are, believes in you, believes in humanity, and does good things with the power that he has been given. And more than that, I think he mattered very much to this little guy right here quite a long time ago, who is also me. And that he can mean a lot to a kid and to a grown-up, two very different ends of the same kind of timeline. I think speaks volumes to yet another power that Superman has.